What is going on, Diablo 2 fans? Dobrunsky here, and today I'm going to be showcasing my Corpse Explosion PSN Hybrid Necromancer that I've been playing at Path of Diablo. Now, big question here, is Corpse Explosion truly nerfed in Path of Diablo with reduced damage? Well, I don't think it is, and we're going to dive into why in this video. Like all of my previous build videos of this nature, timestamps will be in the description below, so if you guys want to bounce back and forth between the attributes, key points, skill tree, gear, or gameplay, they're there for you guys to use, so please take advantage of them. And a quick reminder that I often optimize and build these characters live on Twitch. I stream there twice a week. Link is also in the description below. So if you guys enjoy my YouTube content, maybe hit me up with a follow there. I'd really appreciate it. But guys, hope you enjoy this video. Let's jump in.
You're too late.
So before I jump into some of the specifics of this build, there's three key points that I want to discuss in regards to a Path of Diablo Corpse Explosion Necro compared to LOD. The first is that Decrepify is going to be your #1 curse. Now that might seem weird, but in Path of Diablo, you cannot reduce monsters' physical resistance below 0. So the majority of physical res on monsters in Hell difficulty is 50. So Decrep is already bringing them down to 0, and then you get the added bonus of reducing their damage output and also making them slow. So in my opinion, it's a lot better than amp damage. Now, of course, LOD, that's the go-to curse, but it's not necessarily the case in Path of Diablo. The second point is that, in my opinion, mana after kill is super important for this build because I have like a level 40 Corpse Explosion, and it's about 65 mana per Corpse Explode. So it's a very, very mana-intensive character. So if you spam it like 10 times, right, it's just 600 mana. So getting that redemption of mana back per kill is very important. And I definitely stacked a lot of it in this build. Now you can kind of get away with not having quite as much as what I have and then potting more, but I kind of like the sort of AFK playstyle and not having to worry about pots. So definitely I think stacking mana after kill is super important for this build in particular. And the third and final point is that while I do have some very expensive gear for this particular build, more on that when we actually dive into the gear, but you don't need like a D-Web and a faceted Shaco. That's just boosting your poison damage. The majority of this build's power comes from Corpse Explosion, so you can absolutely rock something like a standard Shaco and Hodo. You're not really going to notice much of a difference, other than your Desecrate might not necessarily be quite as powerful, but again, 90% of your killing is coming from Corpse Explode itself, so something like a Hodo and a plain Shaco would be completely fine for this particular build. The attributes for this Necro, it's very straightforward. It's just a max Vita build. So I have enough strength to equip my gear, which is 157. I actually gained an additional plus strength point from one of the jewels of my armor, so that should be technically 156. Or it could be optimized a little bit more with a minus requirement Monarch to make Spirit. But again, I didn't min and max the build to its fullest. I have nothing into Dexterity, nothing into Energy, and then I have 445 points into Vitality. So before battle orders, I have 1,645 life and then 870 mana. And then my res is 75 fire, 75 cold, 75 lightning, and 69 poison. So it is really important to make sure you have those completely capped, especially for the endgame tier mapping, because there is some maps that will actually spawn chance to cast lower resistance on you, or conviction or curses. So you really want to make sure you have your res kind of even overcapped for those scenarios. Taking a look at the skill tree, the first one we'll go over is the curses. So I only have one hard point into Decrepify. You'll notice that there's no prerequisites like the standard LOD skill tree, so you can just put one into Decrep. Now, the rest of my skill tree is pretty well maxed, so I guess additional skill points, if I level past level 93, I could maybe put into Life Tap for support for Ubers, or maybe lower resistance to support elemental damage dealing teammates. But it's very simple, just one to Decrep. And then for the summoning skill tree, I have a lot of one hard points here with the exception of Convocation. That is the Necro's teleport skill, so I invested more points into it to try and reduce the cooldown duration on it. But I have 1 into Summon Mastery, 1 into Raise Skeleton Warrior, 1 into Raise Skeleton Mage, and then 1 into Revive. Revive is very important. They're kind of like the meat shields that help supplement my survivability when I'm doing mapping or just regular monster farming. And I have 1 hard point into Clay Golem and 1 into Blood Golem. Now, a quarter of the life stolen from the Blood Golem is given back to me in life, so it's a really nice kind of like supplement support golem. I don't really see the point of using an Insight Iron Golem because CTA is significantly nerfed at Path of Diablo, so I just don't think it has the survivability that Blood Golem does. And then, like I said, I completely maxed out Convocation to reduce the cooldown duration on my teleport skill. And at level 33 plus an extra skill point, 34 with Battle Command from CTA, I have a cooldown of 0.4 seconds. That's the lowest I can possibly get, and it's kind of the closest to a standard teleporting Necro from LOD. And then for the final skill tree, we have Poison and Bone. Now I completely maxed out Deadly Poison, Desecrate, and Poison Nova. Desecrate is a very important skill. It's what I use to create my own corpses to start the corpse explosion chain. I don't actually have to kill a monster first. Even though I have a lot of poison damage and a lot of monsters do die from Desecrate, I basically kind of telestomp, curse, drop a bunch of Desecrate corpses around, and then I'll just start my corpse explosion chain and just take everything out. And then I have 1 hard point into bone armor, and then a completely maxed corpse explosion. And it only deals 41 to 47% of corpse life. That is a lot different than the standard 75 from LOD D2. But here's a big but here. Because there's so many monsters, when you kick off that corpse explosion chain, you just wreck the entire map just because there's so much more monster density. So that reduced percent damage isn't quite as bad as what you would think compared to this kind of standard 75 of LOD. Now, the gear for this Necro, it's not too much different than the pure Poison Necro build video that I made a couple weeks ago. I got a link for that in the description below if you guys want kind of a more detailed breakdown. I'm really just going to kind of quickly go over the gear, kind of what I changed for this build in particular. So starting off with the weapon, like the previous video, it's a double-faceted D-web. This has been corrupted. And I'm still using the 2 open socket corrupted Shaco, again with 2 poison facets. And then Trangs for the FCR, cold res, and then additional poison damage. And then this has been corrupted to add additional resistances to the glove. And then I have a 35 FCR Spirit, Arachnid's Mesh, still a corrupted, and then plain SOJ. I guess ideally, at some point I'd like to have corrupted SOJs that have additional plus stats on them. And then I have a corrupted Maras for 3 dull skills. This is 26 all res. Arachnid's Mesh, and then I have Silk Weaves. Now these are corrupted to have a 10% cooldown, so that's really important. The reason why I'm using these boots is the 5 to man after kill, and then the 10% reduced skill cooldown. That helps me get that 0.4 second convocation with the battle command and all of my other plus skill gear, so that's the reason why I'm using these particular boots. Again, I think that's very important. And then talking about man after kill, D-Web has 10 man after kill, and then I have 5 with Silk Weaves. And for my body armor, I have a 32 all res upped corrupted 4 open socket Viper Magi that I have 4 3 to mana after kill jewels put inside, and then one of them is 7 FHR, 3 to mana after kill, and then I have a 1 to strength, 3 to mana after kill, and the other 2 are plain. So ideally, like, you'd want to have something crazy like plus life, mana after kill, FHR, you know, just better stats. But again, I get 12 mana after kill from this body armor, 5 from the boots, and then 10 from the D-Webs. That's, again, I talked about that in the key points, but that's where I get my source of mana after kill, so I don't really need to pot with this build. And then on the offhand, I have a CTA and Spirit. This is just for that extra additional plus skill and tiny little bit of life. Even 5 to battle orders, it only adds like 150, 200 life, but it's better than nothing, and I didn't really know what else to use on the offhand, so that's why I'm, again, using CTA with this build. And then the inventory is identical to the Poison and Bone skill tree video. I've Torch and Annie, different assorted plus life Poison and Bone skillers. Now a lot of these were traded or donated to me while I was streaming, so again, pretty top tier gear, but plain Poison and Bone skills are fine. And then I have different assorted resistance and FHR or plus life mana small charms. That's just to make sure I have capped res, and then lots of plus life and then plus mana, because again, like I said, it's a very mana intensive build. And then my mercenary is using Fortitude. It's not an ethereal Fortitude, just a plain one. I guess ethereal would be a little bit better, more optimized. And then I have a 3 open socket corrupted in Dario's Visage. This has a 15 IS splash damage jewel, 15 IS 89 to attack rating jewel, and a 15 IS 32 ED jewel. That's how I have the crazy 65 increased attack speed. And then I paired that with Infinity. Now, like standard LOD, Corpse Explosion is still 50% fire and 50% physical damage. Now, we can't bring monsters fire res below 0, and we can't bring physical resistance below 0, but Infinity is still important because if they have like 30 or 40 fire res, you still want to bring that down to 0, so that's the reason why I'm using this weapon. And then Act 2 Mercenaries don't have Holy Freeze or Might Aura like standard LOD. I forgot to mention this in a couple previous videos, so I went with a Defiance Mercenary just to boost my defense a little bit. I mean, I guess I could go maybe Prayer for life recovery, but I just went Defiance to give myself a little bit of a defense boost. So to showcase this build, I'm going to do a standard Eldritch and Shank run, so you can kind of see the idea of cursing, dropping Desecrate, and initiating the Corpse Explosion chain. And then we'll do a tier map, so show you guys some more difficult monster farming. And just to give you an idea of the stats on the tier map, this one is Musty Crypt. It's one of my favorite types to run. Not the highest monster density. This is a tier 2 map though, so it's not the easiest that a map can be. It's also not the hardest. And then it has chance to cast amplified damage when I'm hit or when monsters hit me, so that might make things a little bit interesting, but as long as I play relatively safe, I think we'll be okay. We just won't telestomp right on top of stuff. Now, the pre-buff is a little bit of a... takes a while, so I do battle command, battle orders, get my blood golem. This is Desecrate, creating my own corpses, and then I can, from those corpses, either corpse explode them, or I can summon my own revives, and then we'll hit them up with another battle command and battle orders buff. But the idea is just telestomp, cast, decrep, drop a couple of these desecrates around, just start a corpse explosion chain, and then just go. That's not really the best kind of showcase because these monsters die pretty easily. Again, just telestomp, decrep, drop a couple of desecrates, and then just initiate corpse explosion chain. All there is really to it. And again, I only have 929 mana, so that's why I think mana after kill is pretty important. Decrep, desecrate, corpse explosion chain. That's it. But you'll really start to see how effective it is when we do some of this tier mapping.
Good afternoon.
So, must decrypt. So this is an example of not quite the hardest, but getting up there for difficulty. And I think this Necro just runs through these maps anyways. Really doesn't. Rather than Necro, same idea. Decrep, place your desecrates everywhere, and then just start your corpse explosion chain. Make sure you have your alt button down to check for loot. I think the reason why it's so effective is just there's so much monster density. So even though you have reduced effectiveness of damage, when you have just that many monsters, you just can corpse explode literally at will. And then with having a very high mana after kill, I don't need to worry about potting. So I really like this build, and of all the Necro builds that I've tried this ladder, so Bone Necro, Pure Poison, this I think is probably the most effective tier mapping of the ones I've tried. I've been told it's get a little scary here because amp damage. Amp damage and range, just kind of watch out for that. But I've been told that the Hemo Necro is very similar in terms of clear speed to this. Again, I haven't had a chance to try it. There's unique bolts. So you could imagine what this would be like if we could chain corpse explosions with amp damage and reducing monsters' physical resistance below 0. I mean, this is all that there really is to the build. Is this sequence of curse, desecrate, start your corpse explosion chain, and then just telestomp and go. And amp damage is making this... I mean, you have to be like a little bit more careful with what you're doing, just because I'm taking a lot more damage from these guys if I don't get them cursed right away. But you can always play safe and just hang back and drop your desecrates wherever and just let your corpse explosion do its work. Ooh, Night Smoke Belt. It's not that crazy. Yeah, that's, I mean, I'll do a little bit more to just show you guys this build. This will probably take me 10 minutes to clear this map, so it won't make you guys sit through the entire map clear, but even with a little bit of life after kill from D-Web, as I feel like I don't really even need to be that overly cautious. Like, as long as I telestomp in, get decrep, I'm going to start my corpse explosion chain. That was kind of a bad example. Decrep, desecrate, and start my corpse explosion chain. There's not really that much need to worry about, just because I'm replenishing my health globe with all these 10 man after kill shots. And decrep makes things a little bit safe too. Like, that was a bad example back there. I kind of telestomped and didn't use my spells correctly. But here, just telestomp in, decrep, desecrate, corpse explosion. That's all that there is to this build. We'll do a couple more. Crap, right in the center. Start a corpse explosion chain. And I'm doing this with amp damage. Like this entire time I've had amp damage on me. I had one close call, but that was basically from just not using my curses correctly. With the crap, start desecrate, and then just start corpse explosion chain. Even these guys that are way off that don't actually get hit with the crap, as long as there's enough corpses around, you can typically kill them as well. One final little example here. Aerial Berserker Axe. That's okay. So Telestomp, the crap, Desecrate, and Corpse Explode. And I really didn't mana pot other than I hit kind of the rejuve there when I didn't do the best job of sequencing the events. It is kind of like a piano string build. But yeah, guys, that is the Path of Diablo Corpse Explosion Hybrid Necromancer build that I've been running this patch. So that wraps up today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Again, I am not a Path of Diablo expert, but I've played Necro almost exclusively this entire patch, and I've tried a lot of different builds, and I think that the Corpse Explosion is probably the best one for me yet. Let me know in the comment section below if there's anything you guys would tweak gear-wise or gameplay-wise. Again, I'm totally open to suggestions, and as always, if you could throw a like on this video, share it, and even consider subscribing if you're new to my channel. I post new weekly content on YouTube, and I stream twice a week on Twitch. So a follow on Twitch and a sub on YouTube would be amazing. Other than that, guys, hope you have a fan-frickin-tastic day, and I'll catch you on my next video or live stream. Peace out.